None of these players have won a series in England.
England has a lot to lose. Australia has so much of an upside. So
Yeah, interesting game. It's like, you're playing one inning to win the test match now. Like
England don't have Moeen Ali, I think, as the spinner.
maybe he come
Um,
out and get hit on the head and get a concussion stuff.
yeah, I think they spoke about that and they said that was they brought that up when Nathan Lyon was injured.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they said, in theory, it's easy, but in reality, you're asking someone to go get hit on the head and be concussed when that's not on, I reckon. I wouldn't. I can't think of many captains or
No,
coaches saying, yeah, go and get cop one in the head so he can get a concussion sub. So I don't think that will be on. So, but a good theory of the rule.
it'll be a good story for him to tell. Welcome back to Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast. This episode is supported by DJB47.com. For a very disappointing end to the Pakistan Test series, I think Test finished in 3 days, and we were worried about whether we'll get a result in the Test match, and we had a humiliating defeat. Overall, very disappointing series for Sri Lanka. I think we should start from there. I mean, we got more news to cover with LPL starting in few days. But let's start with Pakistan Test. Disappointing series for batsmen and bowlers.
Yeah, good way to start the program. Let out a bit of our frustrations of how the boys have gone ahead playing this series, and then we can work through the LPL and a little bit of Ashes. Frustrating is the best way to put it. Compare this to back in 2021 when England toured Sri Lanka and they won 2-0 up in goal. And then Sri Lanka pretty much in a similar state. I reckon this series is, I think, a lot more telling than the English series, especially the way we got found out. SSC was a game to forget and a series to forget for overall.
Yeah, I'll start with the stats for batsmen, Bora, the top order
Yeah,
batsmen. If you go through the batting order, Nishan Madhuskar scored 93 runs at 23, Dimuth 107 runs at 26, Kusal Mendis 50 runs at 12, Angelo 143 runs at 47, Chamdi 64 runs at 16. TDS was the long warrior. He scored 271 at 67. Sadira 52 at 13 and Ramesh Mendis 90 at 22. So that's our top 8. And we haven't put up a fight. What was noticeable was the Pakistan's late order batsmen. They hung around and make sure they stayed with their recognized batsmen. That didn't happen for us. Like as soon as we lost our sixth wicket, and it's a matter of time. Like in few overs, we'll be all out. And so, but as you said in the last episode, our next test match is in February. So in a way, there's no point talking about this. By the time we play another test match, all this will be forgotten. So feels like we finished this test series to get on with the LP.
yeah, pretty much. I reckon that's where things are at. We should have a change going into the next test series. Definitely, definitely have to have the batting order looked at. It might not be play. I reckon there'll be a few players whose careers might finish as well. Just reality. Whoever comes in just need to make sure we are batting them in the right spots. So just some of the concerns I refer England series and then the series against Pakistan, the stats are pretty similar. We had similar players who
Yeah,
played that across that and were notable failures as well. So playing at home against good teams, we are struggling to bring up scores. You kind of it gets distracted or gets hidden when you play series against the Ireland and you're having high scores, and then you come here with a lot of confidence, but we don't have the results to
Yeah.
show that. So I feel, honestly speaking, you need to look at a new number three. Your number three spot has to be replaced, and you got to be prepared to give whoever comes in a good run. I reckon whoever, I mean, there was a thinking behind in introducing Kusal Mendes at number three and an investment to show, look, over time he's going to deliver. There is a little bit of doubt on it now. His skill sets are pretty good. Do we then consider him at a number four or number five position, and introduce a guy like Dhananjay De Silva, or even someone that is out of the mix to a number three, and invest in that person over time?
Yeah.
So I feel that's a key position. Your best player has to bat at number three. He might not look, he might not look the most pleasing on the eye, but if he helps steady a order or helps the team get to where they want it to be, like Sri Lanka did in the one-day setup, they brought Dimuth Karunaratne at top of the order, make sure he bats through an innings and steady the ship. We need to revisit the number three now in the test team.
Mm. Yeah, you talked about this DDS coming to number three. I think there's room for Pathum Nisanka to come in as well, Bora.
Look,
Because
at this stage, all Pathum Nisanka, Avishka Fernando, these guys are looking promising test players with the
yeah,
current sort of batters we've seen. The bowling that was on display was all right. It wasn't like massive at SSC. You'd have the confidence you can take over and
yeah,
look after that ball, but that wasn't the case.
yeah. Asita Fernando, he had a couple of good spells in that test match. But our spinners, Jayasuriya took 9 wickets at 44, and Ramesh
Yep.
Pandis took 6 wickets at 56. When things are going well, these two bowlers, they take wickets, but when it needed, this is not the first time this has happened to Sri Lanka. There are some times because the pitches we play on, sometimes we get into these tricky situations, but we have won test matches from those situations. Rangana Herath will take a seven for, or batsmen. Sometimes they fail in a series, but we didn't have that fight in the lower batting order, and we didn't have that match-winning bowling performances, especially against Pakistan. I remember one time Rangana Herath took. We were looking at a defeat on the fifth day, and he went and took 6 wickets, I think, and we won the game. They were 90 for two or something at stumps on day four, and next day they were all out for 112 or something. So
Yeah, that
they said,
that was Rangan
yeah,
That was Ranganahera's magical run of Test cricket on his return, and that spun it. Even I was hoping for a game like that in goal, where we would have made it a bit more challenging, but wasn't the case. The guys need to start looking into it, having a period of a gap in Test cricket. You almost need to look at what's your mechanism, how you want to play the game.
yeah,
England has their best ball theory. Pakistan seems to be having a unique way of playing their game as well. Sri Lanka needs to identify a game that is going to help them through playing Test cricket.
yeah. I think we'll have to stick with a squad of players who will only play Test cricket. Maybe that's the way to go, because we don't play enough Test matches anyway, and we pick players based on their white ball performance,
Yeah,
and we can't play Test cricket if every time we go into bat, if we are like 3 for 30 or 4 for 60, you can't play Test cricket like that. The changes needs to happen, but
look,
by February, things will be different. So that's, yeah.
Going by the two series with I reckon there'll be a lot of changes. I'm just looking at the squad that played the Test series against England. I
Mm.
mean, for example, you had Tirimana, Dikwella, Dasun Chanaka, Wanidu Hasaranga,
Yeah.
um, Osunda Fernando. Yeah, and now 2 years later, we
Yeah.
have guys like Dhananjay De Silva, Sadira Samaravikrama, the opener Madushka as well. They are
Mm.
the fringe players who have come in. The batting has revolved around Angelo Matthews, Kusal Mendis, Dinesh Chandimal, between the two series. And the key players we've banked on to play, Kusal Mendis, Chandimal haven't delivered. Angelo Matthews generally is consistent with his run making.
Mm.
So two key players between 2 years apart have had poor series against top teams.
Yeah.
So statistically, they'll need to start looking at that.
Yeah.
Wicket keeping was a quick one. I want to summarize. I know Dickwell behind the stumps.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work.
Mm.
There was a few mistakes happening from Sadira as well. And when you don't have runs, similar to how Bairstow goes about it, when you don't have runs, it gets
Yeah.
found out.
We keep an eye. We'll see. We got time. We got till
Yeah,
February, so a lot can
yeah.
happen.
Chris Silverwood will be happy that there's a gap in Test cricket. Just puts him his position
Yeah.
under a bit, have time to get through it
Mm.
and come back. So
It's
uh,
funny how every time we are not doing well, we see Naveen Nawaz facing the media, not Chris Silverwood.
yeah,
Anyway, I think let's move on to LPL, Bora.
yeah,
So LPL starts on 31st. That's a Monday, just in time for our winners of the competition to wear the DJ Bravo cap for the games. So we'll pick a winner on 31st of July. Actually, five winners. Keep an eye on our social media to see who win that competition. LPL, five teams, Bora. Some teams have changed names. Some teams have changed owners, captains.
yeah.
Looking at the squads, Pilau Candy, Colombo Strikers, Dambulla Ora, Gold Titans, Jaffna Kings. Jaffna Kings is the only team I think the name hasn't changed. Yeah, looking at the squads, they look very strong. A lot of Pakistan players and a lot of players who are not involved with international cricket, and they're like lots of free agents. It'll be an interesting tournament, Bora, because we talked about LPL not happening year after year. Here we are. It's the fourth time in a row LPL kicks off. So, any initial thoughts about the teams, Bora, before we get into the squads?
Yeah, I reckon that's good vibes around the LPL. A lot of celebrities being involved, roped in for the
Yeah,
game, create awareness, enthusiasm. Um, I think a big win I saw was Lasit Malinga being involved with the
yeah,
LPL. That's massive. Few players to watch out for. I know there's a couple of Aussie players who will be playing out there, which are players to keep an eye out how they handle local conditions, which even IPL teams will start to take into account. Heading into the LPL, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of teams preparing. Jaffna is the team to beat.
yeah,
They've set a benchmark which is hard to break through. So they'll start the tournaments as a strong team.
yeah,
Um, the rest of the teams have had mix and matches, name changes, team ownership changes, and trying to make an impression. So leader of the pack at the moment is Jaffna.
mm,
We'll just have to see who else will be contesting that title.
yeah. Suresh Raina playing for Candy. Oh,
Yep.
he's in the squad. Don't know whether maybe we'll see last. Sometimes we see these players last. They pull out at the last minute, but yeah,
Yep.
Suresh Raina. Of course, one into Hasranga, Angelo Matthews, Isurudana, Chamira if he's fit, Nuan Pradeep. Overseas players: Mujibur Rahman, Mohammad Hasnain, Amr Jamal. It's a very strong team. Yeah, sorry, Chandi as well. So looking at the teams, bro, even the Colombo team, it was initially meant to be captained by Babar Azam,
Yeah.
but now they've gone with Niroshan Dikwella.
Yeah.
Dikka will be captain the Colombo Strikers. They have
Ika has some good there's a good captaincy record behind him from school
Mm,
days. He's one I think
yeah.
he's one of the first captains to win a triple because back in our day we didn't play T20 cricket, it was always the
Mm,
double. But come transition time, Niroshan Dikwell, through his juniors, they played T20 cricket. So there was the triple to be won, and under his captaincy for Trinity, they won it. He's gone on to some of the teams he's led has had success.
yeah.
Even during our times at NCC, generally comes across a smart thinker. So there was some input as a wicket keeper that he brings about as well. So first test of leading an international or a franchise team to see how his decision making goes along. Sri Lanka over the next few years are looking for changes in captaincy. The test captain wants to change or let go of being the captain.
Yeah.
Dasun Chanaka's been a bit of the pinch in terms of a one-day captaincy as well. So
Mm,
look, things like this, you never know. Right? They do tend to follow people who have success as well.
yeah. He's got a good team, Bora. He's got a very good
Yeah,
team. Obviously, Babar Azam, Iftikhar Ahmed, Lahir Udara, Yashoda Lanka. Remember Yashoda Lanka?
yeah,
He can hit the ball. He it's interesting. I haven't seen him in the domestic circuit for a few years. So yeah, he's back in the limelight. Pathum Nissanka, Nipun Dhananjay, who is a very, very good young player.
yeah,
Han Wickramasinghe, he's a good batsman as well.
yeah,
Obviously Charmika, Dhananjay Lakshan, Ramesh Mendis, Mohammad Nawaz, Angelo Pereira, our good friend.
yeah.
Um,
Making a return from the States. It'll be
yeah,
rare in.
yeah, Nasim Shah, Matisha Patirana,
Yeah,
yeah, Sandakan, Vandese, Wahab Riaz. So it's a very good team. I think um team to look for because I think they'll give a good fight to Jaffna.
yeah,
So moving on to Dambulla, they got Avishka, Kusal Mendis, Kusal Janit, Sadir, Matthew Wade, Alex Ross, Dhananjay De Silva, Dushan Hemanta, Janit Lianage, Binura Fernando, Praveen Jayavikrama, Ngidi, Lungi Ngidi. Um, yeah, so and yeah, they have a very good collection of local players and a mix of
yeah.
overseas players as well. So most of these
Now,
batsmen in the team they need
mm,
to make runs. So it'll be a very interesting series. The World Cup coming up as well. Like people like Avishka Fernando and Kusal Janit, they'll try to make the maximum out of this tournament.
look, I'm just looking at Dambulla side, and straight away I could see your batters headbutting for batting positions, and you have wicket keepers headbutting for who's got the gloves. So if you take,
Yes.
you got Avishka Kusal, Kusal Pereira, or Kusal Janit, Dhananjay De Silva,
Nadira,
Matthew Wade.
Matthew Wade.
They're all top order batters,
Oh,
top
wicket
three. So,
keepers.
and they're all wicket keepers. So Matthew Wade, does he play without keeping Sadira Kusal Mendis? I mean, three of Sri Lanka's wicket keeper batters are in one group.
Yeah.
Um, it's slightly, if you look at the other squads, it's slightly below under par. Or they've got good numbers. It's just how you go about making the combination. That's where
Yeah.
the miss.
Yeah.
Uh,
Bowling.
if
Yeah. Yeah. Bowling wise, they're not. I don't know. It's not balanced because the batsmen they have, they're batsmen.
Yeah.
You don't have that many all rounders there.
I was gonna touch base on the overseas players. A few of the Australian overseas players are players to watch out for. Hayden Kerr has had some big bash success. Um, Matthew Wade, we know how he's good in lower order, and especially how he went about with the Australian World Cup chances of batting through the lower end, and how we'll handle. Alex Ross generally is a massive sweeper. He's one of the best sweepers going around. So to see them bat in and see how they go will be good to see. But then when you look at the Sri Lankan batting on, you got Avishka Kusal, Kusal Pereira, Sadira, and Dhananjay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 batters.
Mm.
You get Matthew Wade 6, Hayden Kerr 7. So you almost like you've got your batting orders already full. So where are they going to have overseas bowlers in there?
They got Ngidi.
Yeah,
So like you can only play 4, so it's tough. Yeah.
it's
Mm,
interesting. The squad looks slightly off balance for me.
yeah.
Um,
Well, let's move on to Goal Titans, coached by
yeah,
Samara Kapugedera. They got a good mix of local and overseas, very experienced team. Bhanuka Rajapaksa, of course,
yeah,
Tim Seifert, the wicketkeeper batsman, Ben
yeah,
Cutting, Akila Dhananjaya, Sikuge Prasanna, Ashan Priyanchan, local veterans,
yeah,
Sakibul Hassan, and obviously Dasun Shanaka, the captain, and Vishwa Fernando, Lahir Kumar, Kasun Rajitha. They're fast
yeah,
bowlers. So I'm not sure Lahir Kumar, I think he's carrying an injury. I'm not sure whether he's fit to play.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look, this team also got a bit of young players and a bit of an unknown quantity in Siobhan Daniel. Plasit Cruz Pool, I think they've played a lot of Sri Lanka A's and few franchise cricket. Siobhan Daniel will be a good one to keep
Kevin
an eye
Daniel.
out. Tim Seifert is being good in the international circuit.
Yeah.
Um,
Anuk Fernandez,
Lahiru Subrahman,
another all rounder from under 19s. And I think you played a bit of cricket with Anuk.
yeah, Anuk as a junior came through. He played a bit of mercantile cricket. I'm pleased to see him in the squad. There's a bit of an unknown um, player who kind of went off the radar for a bit.
Yeah,
So it's good to see him
good to see.
involved with the LPL setup. Lahiru Samarakon
Yep.
is a good all-rounder to keep an eye out. He's one of those hard-hitting batters. I've seen him hit clear the long ball.
Yeah.
Um, I'd like to see him being involved with the LPL matches from the start within this group. But it'll
All
come down
rounder.
to how they balance the all-rounder spots out there.
And finally, let's move on to Jaffna, the team to beat. They got Nishan Madushka, Asela Gunaratna, Matham Kumara, Chris Lynn, David Miller, Gurbas,
Yeah,
Sham Bandika, Asalanka, Tisara Pereira, the captain, Shoaib Malik, Asita Fernando, Dilshan Madhusanka. He went for a record prize. Goal and Jaffna, they were bidding, and Jaffna won in the end. And they got Mahesh Deekshana, Thenurajan, Nuwan Tushara, the other slinger. Yeah, so the Vijay Kant, the leg spinner,
yeah.
Bellalage. It's a very, very good
It's
unit.
one of the franchises that did really well in the auction. They at the start they will look like they were spending a lot of cash and they might not. I thought as much, but when you look at it, the money they spent was
Yeah,
enough. Like it was a good strategy. Like if you look at who are the local top players in Sri Lanka at the moment, Dilshan Madhushankar, left arm fast bowler. They've got them in. Charita Salanka was one of the good explosive batters to have, young again. Um, and Nishan Madushka, young wicketkeeper bat. So with and top of that, they've got Tisara, um,
Well,
Mahesh, yeah, I forgot Velalage as another young player that is good to have.
they got lots
And
of
then
options.
yeah, they have the best spin bowler in the country as well with Mahesh Dikshan
Yeah.
in T20. So they've done really well.
Mm,
David Miller, I hope he'll be involved with the LPL because he'll be good value for the Jaffna franchise to bat along with Tisara, um, Charita Salanka, and David Miller uh, at the back end. So they almost look like they have their bases covered,
mm.
and you could see the players are spaced out. They're not one block of players all
No,
fighting
no.
for one. They've got uh, like a, how do I say it? Two spinners, top order, middle order, and a lower middle order batter spread
Yeah.
out, which two like so.
Mm.
In that aspect, they've done it. They've gotten Asela Gunaratne involved as a
Yeah, yeah,
veteran as
yeah,
well, who's had T20 success for Sri Lanka.
yeah.
Uh, so
No, very,
this is
very
what
good,
I mean.
very strong unit.
They're well placed in terms of how they want to go about and defend their title.
So I think that's one thing we both agree on. I think they are the team to beat. So do you want to give a prediction before the tournament?
Look, I don't want to jinx them, but they're pretty much the Man City of the LPL at the moment. So
Yeah, yeah.
they'll be. I've been a big fan of Jaffna from the start, so I'll keep sticking with them, um, and hope they take it out. It's unheard of. I think they've won the last three. So then, if you win this, it's another fairy tale story to add for them.
Hmm. All right. I'm gonna go with my good friend Kapu. Um, I'm gonna back them to win it, beat Jaffna in the final, and make a big upset.
No, that
The bold call, I know, but hmm,
but it's like remember when Sri Lanka cricket still plays these tournaments, that four team tournament where random provincial names are brought up and you do make semi-finals or finals even though you have like a bad run or a good run, but come the semi-final you might get knocked out or there is a little
well,
surprises there. So
Jerry's,
that
anything can
one
happen.
one player can make that change, and Kapoor's side does have one player, one innings, like for example, Bhanuka Rajapaksa's
Yeah.
involved, impact players.
Okay. Ashan
Yeah,
Priyanka, wealth of experience. Who knows? Okay.
so they're there. Candy not bad. They've got some players that will be involved as well. If you go in a hierarchy of squads, we're looking at the outset, you'll go Jaffna one, Candy second, Colombo. Candy and Colombo both look strong,
Mm.
and then you filter through Gaul and Dambula. I reckon Dambula is good, but it's just I don't know the
It's
combination
balanced. Yeah.
interesting. Look, they might surprise us coming out and come out with a combination. That's the beauty of cricket, and to understand how some of the the decision making was and how they wanted to go about it. That's something we'll discover out there.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk more as the tournament progresses. Yeah, I think that's about it, but I don't think we have time to cover Ashes. But we'll do that in the next episode. We might see a 2-2 finish or a series win by Australia after a long time.
Yeah, a lot of it depend for England. Lot more to lose for England.
Mm.
Um, this legacy they talk about, if they don't draw this test series, I reckon not many will be discussing that one. And not many crowds will want to come in to watch teams,
Yeah,
fall behind those series playing a high risk game of cricket.
yeah,
It's just going to be short-lived. But let's hope to cover that in a full episode next time.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. All right. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for listening. We'll catch up soon.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.